Panoramic roofs are becoming more and more popular and cheaper, so people are taking more and more this option on the car. However, this may cause a few problems, especially in a crash, but not always in a crash. There have been a few cases when the panoramic roof, without being hit by any rock or anything, or any bump on the road or so, it just simply exploded and rained small bits of glass, just like in tempered glass. Now imagine if you have a small child in your back seat, the toddlers are sitting backwards in those small seats and they are completely exposed to this. It may rain on their face, eyes, mouth, whatever could be. So Consumer Reports did investigate this. This is done in 2018, so it's really just 1.5 years old, 2 years old, very recent. And they did contact all car makers that offer these options. And what they found is that there are actually, depending on the car maker, some choose to install laminated glass, which means it's a glass that has a plastic film to it. It's just like your windshield, while others stayed with safety tempered glass, which is simply a glass that will just shatter in very tiny bits and rain down in a crash or roll over or so. And they did contact the car makers, more important ones. You got this, a few of them. And I like to get through what the car makers say. But first, one of the problem is that many Hyundai and Kia cars had these sunroofs really blow all of a sudden while on the highway. It's not exactly understand why it happens. And again, it's not because a rock hit it, but it really just exploded. And if you didn't have that cover, the shade covering it underneath, it will just rain down on especially on the rear passenger, less on the front ones, but also front ones. It just rains you those small bits of glass. However, some car makers did use laminated. Laminated means it will, if it's shattering, even if you roll over a car, it will stay in place. It will just be like will just bend a little bit or sag, but it's not going to rain you with bits of glass, and it's not necessarily going to fall on your head. And Consumer Reports did went to ask car makers what do they do about this, what do they use also, do they put the laminated one or the other one, the temperate. So temperate is the one that rains on your head, and laminated is the one that will stay in place, which seems to be much safer. They asked the car makers what did they put, because when you buy a car you cannot really tell, is it laminated or is it temperate. And I will get you through this, the car makers, what everybody said. I will link this site as well. But it's funny because you will see when you read these answers, you'll actually realize, and this is true in everything in life, you realize that every company has a culture. Every company has a approach to a matter of their product. Some will really be very conscious and really taking care of it, while other will be at the other extreme in complete denial and just won't care about it. And some even will not be willing to share the information. So it's really a mentality of every culture on different companies, and you will see how much it differs from company to company. Let's just start with Volvo, as I drive with Volvo. And by the way, this also applies to the sunroofs, the smaller roofs. So many cars had only a small sunroof, or depending how you name it. But the articles is mainly for the larger panoramic roofs, and the Tesla ones had a very good example of such thing. Now Tesla says it does use on every car of them, old or new, only laminated, and that's again the best options. And they are willing to share the information. I'll let you read about Ferrari. Not everybody has a Ferrari. Volvo is the only one in the bunch that takes a much professional approach in respect to the safety of the occupants, because they are the only single company here that mentioned this thing, it's providing superior protection in rollover situations. They are the only one who mentioned this. So perhaps other car makers are thinking about it, but the Volvo company, it's really paying attention to rollover. So it's really paying attention to all aspects of the safety in their cars. And this is a good point to them. Ford, you see the company, this is starts to show the culture of a company. So it says the company declined to say which models have laminated or explain if they have tempered glass or not. So right off the bat, the company it just doesn't want to talk about it, and that's not a good sign about Ford as a company. It tells you right away this company, the only moment when you don't want to talk is when you have things to hide. And Ford also, they were caught when in the crash test, you see, remember those crash tests? They were doing crash tests on the driver's side offset, and actually Ford reinforced only the driver's side for those specific crash tests, and they didn't really reinforce the passenger side. So it's a company that will perhaps advance things about safety only when they are really pushed on. And they have also a bad history with those cars in fire in the 60s also. So it's the same mentality. They didn't change the mentality. Honda, it's a little bit in the middle. I'll let you read about Jaguar. Nissan, obviously, is a car maker that makes less expensive cars, and they say they use both of them, and they argue that both are safe. But now, Subaru is a company that perhaps some of you know that they are taking care of safety. They are usually, even back in the days, quite at the top of the safest cars. And they emphasis on this using laminated glass, and they talk about opaque ejection in rollover. So they are taking care. BMW, I'm not aware of much of this company, but they say they use only tempered glass, which is the less safer one, and that's sad because these are cars that cost a lot of money, and the option also cost a lot of money. So for such a product, it's surprising they don't really care about it. Fiat, I'll let you read. Well, let's just go with Hyundai and Kia. These are the two companies that had the most situation when the panoramic roof exploded all of a sudden. And obviously, it's two companies because I drove a Hyundai from new, and we have problems with it. And there are many people out there who say they never had problems with Hyundai, and those are lies. And I'll tell you what, the people are lying about the cars. There are various reasons, but most of the times they lie about a car because they don't want to let others know that their cars have problems, because it's like a status or something. Even though you think Hyundai is cheap, but depends how much money you make. So Hyundai and Kia had issues, and Kia is in just total denial. Look at what they say. He said even if a tempered glass will blow all of a sudden on the road, they argue that that's not much of a problem because it will make a loud noise that will not disturb or distract the driver or cause the driver to lose control or crash. That's really a childish argument, really pathetic, and that tells you, at least that spokesman person who talked for Kia, that tells you the mentality of the company, and that's not a good thing. Mercedes-Benz, the status car. Look, I know I'm going to get flame from Mercedes fan base, but they had quite a few instances. You will think 80 over close to 1 million car is not much, but it's quite a bit, especially you are paying 60,000, 70,000, 50,000 for a car, and all of a sudden sunroof is exploding over your head. I don't know how you will feel. Maybe if it's a Kia, you will feel different, but on such a car, I don't know. And they use, unfortunately, those tempered glass, the cheaper glass. Again, just like BMW. That's strange a little bit to see both brands using that thing. Okay, so this was it. Thanks for watching.